Well, the night for Chelsea coming back from behind to win that game. Welcome you on the show, 360 Sport on Trust TV. Adeni Jishafe. Well, we'll be looking at those stories trending as we look at sporting activities across the globe. Although it was a big night for English football matches that have been played. But right before we talk about English football, let's really talk about our own. Well, a match actually took place yesterday in Nigeria. That is between Sunshine Stars of Akure and Doma United at the stadium in Akure there. Even though it was a solemn one, because at the beginning of that match they had to take a minute silence in honor of the late former governor of, late governor of Ondo State who actually passed on there. Well, for that particular match they were able to win, and dedicating that particular win to the late governor that lost his life there. Well, but from the way it is right now, we just have to look at this story. Sunshine Stars beat Doma United 2-0 in Akure. Doma United media officer spoke with us, and at least it was hopeful that they were able to do something, but it didn't happen. Sunshine Stars were equal to the task as they were able to win that particular game 2-0 there. Right now, joining us in the studio to talk sport is Opa Josiah. Josiah, good to have you on the show.
Good to have you, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Good one. I just mentioned that game there, even though it was a very kind of a touching. In fact, they were even strong enough to play that game. Some clubs would have opted out, that it was too sudden, looking at the fact that the governor passed on and they had to play the same game that same day. But they still went on to play the game and they were able to win 2-0 against Doma United.
Well, it was indeed a very good game, and it was an opportunity for them to commiserate the events, the happenings with a win. And a kudos to the boys and to the boys for being highly motivated to win Doma United, who have been the table toppers up until yesterday's game. But I'm quite happy that they got a win that goes in line with their heartfelt solidarity with everyone in Akure for the loss of the governor, former.
Okay, from the way it is right now, talking about the NPFL match that took place, let's just look at the table is standing now. After that particular match, Sunshine Stars are beating Doma United 2-0 in Akure. We look at the table, let's look there. We look at Sunshine Stars now, they are standing 8th on the log with 3 points. They have 21 points, playing 16 matches, just 1 point as a goal difference. It means all the goals they've scored, they've also conceded. That's why they have 1 there as their goal difference. Well, Remo Stars still maintain their top form. They will be playing today. The matches will be coming up. We'll be looking at those fixtures after this. Doma United are still there despite that particular loss against Sunshine Stars. That's why it's always good to make hay while the sun shine. And right now, it has helped them because despite losing that game against Sunshine, they still maintain their second position, having 28 points. 1 point behind Remo Stars, Lobby, Bender Insurance, Eyimba, Plateau United, still in that order before they will play their matches today. But for Sunshine Stars, at least, that has given them 21 points now, and at least it's a good one for them for being able to win that game. It's at least giving it that hope that yes, they can still march on to be among the top teams in the NPFL table. Looking at the way it is right now, before the match that will be played today, let's look at the other side of the table from 11 to 20. From the way it is now, Shooting Stars of Ibadan are standing 11 there with 19 points, the same point with Kwara, Gombe United. You look at Sporting Lagos, Katsina United, Niger Tornado standing 14, 15, and 16. Now, if you look at the amount of goals considered by Heartland of Owerri, -6, Bayelsa -9, Akwa United -4, and then you look at Gombe United -9 also, for the fact that they've actually considered more goals that they scored. And although to some extent, Gombe, they've been able to still be among at least number 13 on the log, despite considering much more goals than they've scored. They're still able to get more points. Now, for Heartland of Owerri, -6, 13 points, 15 matches. What is happening to Heartland?
Well, the major issue is the fact that they barely score goals. That's just their problem. It's not as if they have the worst of defense, but for the fact that they fail to score, that's where their problem is coming from. But they are just on 16-goal concession after having scored 10 goals. So they don't have the worst defense in the league as it is right now. But just as in the past week, their management have been putting things in place to see that there comes a turnaround, and I hope that it starts from this match day.
I actually heard a story that maybe their former manager have been restored, although that has not been confirmed yet, Kennedy Beboye has taken over, but now the man that took them to the NPFL, they actually sacked him and they want to bring him back. A lot of issues concerning Heartland FC there. While we're talking about Heartland, let's join Tunji Oyeleke in Kaduna, who will also be joining us on the show to talk about the NPFL. Tunji Oyeleke, NPFL yesterday, Sunshine Stars versus Doma United 2-0. And I remember you said it was a good tribute to the late governor, Akure. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, it was very expected because if you notice, Sunshine Stars have turned their home ground into a fortress, rather. They usually pick points at home, and that accounts for where they are standing on the table right now. And looking at the fact that they always look for a way to dispatch teams, especially because usually it is pretty still rare for us to see teams, getting good results away from home, unless you're Plateau United, because it was a routine win for them at home. And like I said, they had the extra motivation of the loss of Governor Akure, Rotimi Akeredolu, to get the 3 points for them. So it was expected, really. It was expected for them to pick the points in that game.
And now, why we actually talked about Sunshine, that's what I expected result. Hopefully, they should be able to win. The boys doing the business. Doma United have really surprised everyone this season, being able to withstand it. Among the big boys in the NPFL, still standing second on the log, despite that loss. How do you see that?
Well, it's as a result of you doing your business, not losing away from home. Because if you look at Doma United, check their form table, you realize that they are one of the most informed teams when it comes to playing away from home. They do their business when they are at home, but when they go away from home, they ensure that if highest you get a draw, you try not to lose the games away from home. And that has usually been the hallmark of the great teams, in the NPFL. Knowing fully well that they have a very passionate coach also. I don't know, though I have not had the luxury, or should I say the privilege, of watching Doma United, in Kaduna, where I am, because usually Niger Tornadoes have adopted Kaduna, as their home ground. So I've not really been able to watch the team play as it is. But I know also that they have a very passionate coach who is always on the touchline, always ensuring that he's dishing out instructions and all of that. So it's really a good thing for them, and very important for us that they're also a team from the north. And if you looked at how they performed, from last season, you would realize that there were signs that they will be doing very well this season. Looking at them, Remo Stars, I like the fact that these are newly established. These are teams that are pretty much new, to the Nigerian football context, and they're doing so well. So I'm not surprised by the form that Doma United are in right now, because when you look at their form table, like I said, you hardly see a loss in it. It's win and draw, so it accounts for where they are standing right now.
Well, a good one there for Doma United. Let them continue to at least reel that particular opportunity, standing second on the log. And really, we've been talking concerning the NPFL. Tunji Oyeleke join us from Kaduna, and also have Opa Josiah in the studio with us. Right now, we are actually the Musketeer in the studio. Well, right now, let's talk about the NPFL fixture. Matches will be coming up today. And we have a lot of matches coming up. Let's look at the fixture, then we'll take it on from there with Josiah and also Tunji Oyeleke. We look at Abia Warriors will be taking on Gombe United, big one there. And we look at Bayelsa United against Eyimba, Enugu Rangers, Shooting Stars, Heartland of Owerri versus Remo Stars, Kano Pillars will take on Kwara United, Katsina United will be facing Akure United, Niger Tornadoes, Lobby Stars. Plateau United will be at home in Jos against Sporting Lagos, while Rivers United will also face Bende Insurance. These are the matches today for today. Let's take it at least 2 by 2. I'll start with you, Tunji. Abia Warriors, Gombe United. That's a match you want to see from the north down to the southeast. They will be moving down to play that game. How will you rate the two teams?
This is a difficult one for Gombe. Let me not lie, because Gombe, they are not good travelers. They are not, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they are on minus goal difference. If I'm not mistaken, I think they are on minus goal difference. So it's not going to be an easy one for them. at all. Akure United also, they are struggling to make the home stadium, that's the stadium in Uyo, if I'm not
No,
mistaken. That's
Abia
the
Warriors,
Godzilla Akpabio Stadium.
Abia Warriors versus Gombe United.
Sorry, I lost your audio there.
Okay,
Yeah,
Abia
yeah,
Warriors.
they're also, yeah, they're also struggling to make that home. So that's Abia Warriors. Sorry,
Yes.
beg your pardon. They'll be struggling to. They're also struggling to make hay, at home. But this is a game of two not so doing well teams, and I won't put it past Abia Warriors to get the 3 points in this particular one. That's basically how I see it going.
Okay, with Bayelsa United hosting Eyimba, do you see Eyimba getting an away win over the
But
Eagles?
Bielsa is also a team doing well at home. You understand? They also Enyimba also have not really been good, when it comes to traveling at home. But they will not be making such a long journey, from Aba to Yenagua to play this game. So I see Enyimba getting at least a draw in this particular game. I see them doing well in this particular game. And let's not forget that things really have been topsy-turvy for Enyimba this season. At times when you expect them to lose, they pull a draw away from home. So it's either a Bayelsa United win or a draw, probably a 1-1 draw. I'm sticking my neck out for a 1-1 draw here.
Okay, if you are sticking your name for a 1-1 draw, what will you be sticking out between a big one, Rangers versus Shooting Stars? Big match there coming up. Big match.
Yes, big match. And I think one thing that is going good for Rivers United is, despite the fact that they still have about 5 games in hand because of their participation on the continent, Rangers still have what it takes, to get the 3 points in this one. And do not forget that they will also want to make up ground for what they have lost against the Shooting Stars team. The way no degree, they don't agree for anybody at all. But I still see Enugu Rangers having enough confidence, enough experience rather, having played on the continents, playing against the North African teams also, despite the fact that they lost, in the last game that they played 3-0 on the continent, they still have the confidence, the experience, that Shooting Stars do not have. And knowing fully well that Enugu Rangers are also going back to the cathedral also. This is probably going to, all odds are stacked against Shooting Stars as it is. So I see Rangers running away with this one, and I'm sticking my net again 2-0.
Wow, seriously, you're sticking on them saying beating Shooting Stars 2-0. Let's see what Coach Electric will be doing there against Shooting Stars. Let's see how it goes. We've been talking with Eleke from Kaduna, talking about the NPFL fixtures for today. And now, let's cross over to Opa Josiah. Josiah, I'm sure, looking at these particular fixtures, you want to agree, maybe you are agreeing with Tuji that Rangers will be Shooting Stars.
Well, I can't really agree, considering the last 3 meetings between both teams have not really gone in favor of Enugu Rangers. But I would expect history not to repeat itself, considering that both teams are highly motivated and Enugu Rangers will be playing at home. So I expect let there be a twist in history.
Well, while you are actually hoping that there will be a twist in history, looking at this particular fixture, I will be on you, Opa Josiah. Remo Stars are right now, they are topping the league, number 1 versus number 20. Heartland of Owerri are down the bottom of the table, and they will be playing home today against number 1 team, that's Remo Stars. Do you see number 20 upstaging number 1, or number 1 will still defeat number 20?
Well, anything can happen in football. Remo Stars are the top team as it stands, and I hope they keep the momentum going. But for Heartland Owerri, they have all to prove that they belong in the league. We've had top teams living even in top tiers of European football, so I wouldn't see it as a surprise for Heartland to pull off a shocker against the top team in the NPFL.
Well, to you, Eleke, will you agree with that? Because it seems Remo Stars are very hot now against Heartland. Any shocker coming up there?
No, not really, not really. It's I expect Remo Stars. Remo Stars have a very strong. They have a very strong attacking line. Let's not forget that. Sikiru Olat is this Sikiru Olatubosu? He's played there 10 goals in 15 games, and he has about 2 assists also. One of the hottest attackers in the NPFL this season. I expect I expect that's going to be very very hot for Heartland, who have been struggling. They've been conceding water. They've been drinking goals like water. Let me say this, put it that way. So I do not see Heartland, pulling up a surprise. But the home advantage thing that is always playing in the NPFL. So probably the fans in a way they would want to put the team, on edge to ensure that they get back to winning ways. But I still expect Remo Stars to get something out of this particular game.
Why were expecting Redmond Stars to get something out of that? Another big match to be coming up between Rivers United and Bende Insurance. Wow, what a match. South now. The two teams will be locking all over there in Port Harcourt. Do you see Bende Insurance getting the shocker away, or Rivers will be able to hold their own? After all, for now, they are back home to play NPFL.
For Rivers, they will do the do at home. In Port Harcourt, I expect them to get the deed. Though Bedell Insurance are a team that I admire a lot. I like, from the outside, you love the packaging, the way they carry themselves and all of that. They are looking like a very, very well-run team. But I still expect Rivers United to have enough. The likes of Nima, we're hoping that he will also be coming to the party on this particular one. But like I said, I expect the home team, Rivers United, to have the edge in this one.
Well, while we're looking at that with Eleke, well, let's cross over to Opa Josiah. Rivers United against Bende Insurance, a match that a lot of people want to see because the two teams seems to be well packaged to some extent, although one seems to be more packaged than the other. But at least both teams are battle ready. Who wins this battle for you?
Well, I'll go with Rivers United, considering they have a catch-up to do. They've played barely 10 games, having been participating in the Confederation Cup. So I expect them to put a fight up and win this fixture, considering they're at home in Port Harcourt.
Well, we've been talking concerning matches slated for today in the NPFL. Nigerian Premier Football League is our own. We always want to promote our own league, our own sport, even ahead of others. That's why we call it 360 Sport, touching on each sporting moment. But right now, we cross over from Nigerian Premier Football League. Let's talk about the Premier League matches played yesterday. For Manchester City, good one for them. They were able to do it, and they did it well. Man City moved back to the top four with victory at Everton. That's the story we're looking at right now, so that we can be able to talk about the Premier League matches. For Manchester City, they moved back. They were able to defeat Everton when a lot of people were thinking Everton will also do well, but it never happened. For Tujo Eleke, I'm sure you were expecting Man City to win or Everton. Which one were you expecting to win?
But I knew it would not be easy because deduction happened to Everton. They've been on mad form. They've been on mad form. They've been winning games. I think they've only lost one in the last 6 or 7 games that they've played. If you add last night's result also, so that's like 2 losses in the last 6, 7, 8 games as it is. Now, looking at Manchester City, it was only a matter of time for them to get their groove into that particular game. Looking at how the game started, they benefited from, well, should I say, an uncharacteristic error, for them to score. For Everton, I like what they are doing. I like the fact that they've decided and they are resolute that they want to stay up despite the 10-point deduction. Imagine they weren't deducted 10 points with this kind of form. They'll probably be somewhere, looking at Europe and all of that. But for Manchester City, it was only a matter of when, not if they would win that game, because all they needed was to equalize in that game, and then that they will score a second and probably score a third. But let's not forget that if you look at Manchester City's play, you can see how shaky they can be, even in defense. So you need a team that is effective, that knows what they're actually doing, a team that can ensure that they use their chances when they get them. Because if you look at Everton also, they were pretty profligate in front of goal yesterday. So it was the recipe that Manchester City needed to get the 3 points in that game, and try to work their way back to the top of the table. That's if they can.
Well, let's see if they can actually get back to the top of the table. By this time last season, they were also trailing, but they were able to turn things around by January. Let's look at the result of all the matches played yesterday in the Premier League. It was a fantastic performance from all the other teams. Let's have the result of the games played there. For Brentford against Wolves, 4-1. Well, for Wolves, they really showed their class, winning 4-1 away. That's a fantastic performance. And for Chelsea, 2-1 against Crystal Palace. It was a derby, but they were able to hold their own. For Josiah, what were you expecting between Chelsea and Crystal Palace? Were you hoping that Chelsea will win or Crystal Palace will put up a surprise?
I actually expected a very tight game, but I was expecting Chelsea to win, considering they're at home and they've had a quite number of players coming back from injury in the person of Christopher Nkunku and Noni Madueke. I was so happy when I saw that those guys came up and they really did well. For the first goal, it was all about the creative thought of Nkunku to set the defender in an attacking space for him to set the ball as an assist for the goal scorer. So I hope that they'll build on this and maintain a momentum to ensure consistency.
Well, looking at the fact that they need to maintain consistency, for Chelsea, winning that game is a fantastic performance for them. And right now, we look at the fact that both of them are really trying to see how they can get better. Chelsea they have all the stars, but it seems the result have been eluding them. Now, let's quickly look at how the result is. The table rather. We've just seen the result there. Let's look at the table of the Premier League as standing right now. We look at for Manchester City, they are back to top 4, having 37 points, 22 goals, goal difference there for Manchester City, who won't stop scoring. Well, right now, 37, and they are hoping that, the 5 point behind the Liverpool will top that group. Anything can still happen for other teams. Let's look at Chelsea are back to the place they used to be, number 10. It seems 10 is the birthright of Chelsea there. Well, Tunjo Ileke, Chelsea are back to number 10 on the log after that win against Crystal Palace.
Welcome back to familiar ground for them. For Chelsea, if you look at the way they play, the performances are there. The unfortunate thing is their inability to score and kill off games. That's where they are struggling. Nicholas Jackson, for a striker that has been heavily criticized this season, 7 goals and I think about 5 assists or thereabouts. But he's still not it yet. He's not what Chelsea need. A proper goal scorer. Armando Broja is not it. Nicholas Jackson is not it. And you can see the way they string passes together, the way they play. The performances are actually there. We can see what Mauricio Pochettino is trying to build with that team. It's just not there for them yet, especially attack-wise. As far as what they need is a goal scorer, a person that can put balls in the back of the net. Since Didier Drogba, for Chelsea, all they need right now is a more established goal scorer. Because if you look at the defense line that they played yesterday, you could actually see that this is the future of Chelsea. And then it was good to see Romeo Lavia come back yesterday also. Unfortunately, it seems like he has picked up a knock in that game, but let's see what happens before the weekend.
Okay, big one there coming this weekend. Let's see who stay top for the year 2023. We've been having discussions with two gentlemen, one away in Kaduna. Tunjo Ileke, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And also offer Josiah in the studio with us. Josiah, thanks for talking sport on 360 Sport on Trust TV.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe. That's how we just have to go now. That's all we have for